Hi everyone. I originally started this video because I'd read through some of my medical records with regards to mental health and all the stuff that I revealed about myself, like just raw shit. And seeing the way that it was written down in black and white, of course they tried to make it as look as loopy as possible because that's what they do. The stuff that was revealed about myself, that I revealed about myself, the truth that I revealed about myself, staring me right back in the face, was a lot. So, of course, I bought some snacks to eat my feelings with before I came back and read through them again. But there's something that I want to point out to you guys. When I was 3 years old, this was in 1988-89, I had a seizure and I was brought to the hospital to treat me. And up until then, I'd had a BCG vaccination. I'd had a first diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus triple and polio vaccination. That's the first vaccination I'd had. 1986. I had a second diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus triple and polio vaccination. So within a few months, I'd had like 2 vaccinations. I wasn't even 1 year old yet, okay? So I had a third polio vaccine in July 1986. So I'd had like, 4 vaccinations? 3 of them polio. By the time, and I was only 4 years old, right? 26th of October 1989, measles vaccination. 26th of October 1989, DT polio booster, polio vaccination again. So, all before I reached the age of 5, I'd had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vaccinations. In between all this, when I was 3 years old, I had a seizure. And in spite of what my medical records say, that was the only seizure I've ever had, because I used to I don't want to talk about that, but that was the first and only seizure that I know about, that I know that I've had when I was 3 years old. And I was brought into hospital to treat myself afterwards, right? But that hospital stay is not noted here. That hospital stay is not noted here, nor is any of my work with Dr. Schwartz, because Dr. Schwartz was my epilepsy doctor. Dr. Ruby Schwartz. There's nothing of her, there's nothing of my fits, there's nothing of the years that I went to visit her, nothing of the appointments that I had with her as an epileptic sufferer. So I'm wondering what the hell happened to those notes there, because there's been omissions with my medical records. So what's missing? Grand mal seizure 1999. Yeah, so all of that's noted, right? But the one seizure that I actually did have when I was 3 years old, that's missing. My hospital stay is missing. My work with Dr. Schwartz is missing. What I have to kind of piece together through this is that clearly the vaccinations here, I have to look up the side effects of the vaccinations here, because it might have actually been responsible for the seizure, because apparently after that seizure, I couldn't talk and I had to learn everything over again. But seeing as that's the only seizure that I've actually had, and there's no other known medications that I've been known to have taken as a kid for the epilepsy, Seeing as there's no other treatment known to me, you know, with regards to the epilepsy, and no medications that I had to take as a kid, to my knowledge, I have to assume that the epileptic fit, or the so-called epileptic fit, I believe it was a seizure, right? I don't believe it was epilepsy. So the fit that I had when I was 3 may have been down to the vaccinations, because why else would they omit that information that I had a hospital stay? This is actually some pretty serious shit. So you've got the fake seizures down, but you haven't got any of the real, you haven't got the real one down. You've got almost everything noted from my notes, but you haven't got the real seizure down. You haven't got my hospital stay. You haven't got the effect of my mental health because of that seizure. You haven't got any of that down. That's some serious ass shit. That's some serious ass shit. That's really serious shit. And as for the fake seizures, yeah, I used to do that as a teen, like, not to get attention, but just to get the fuck up out of school because I hated it. But that seizure when I was 3, that was not fake. Not at all. Something's wrong. If it's not, that's a serious incident. That could have killed me. Could have it actually left me with severe brain damage because I couldn't fucking talk after the seizure. So the fact that this real, very real seizure hasn't been noted down, none of that was noted down, that's something that means there's something big going on. There's a big cover up going on. I'm glad I got these notes. I'm glad I got these records. First year in mental health treatment, 1997. Yeah, no, I'm glad I got this. I've got my notes, because otherwise, that's a big problem. I'm gonna have to look up these polio vaccines and see the effects of them. But I came online basically feeling sorry for myself, and I was gonna go at lengths to. This is just them. Basically, all of my medical records are basically a case study of how the vaccines have affected me from the time I was 3. This whole time I was a case study as to how the vaccines were affecting me and affecting my behavior. Now, I'm not going to blame anybody for faking the seizures when I was a teenager. It was upon me to do that. That's on me. Okay? I did that. I sunk to the lowest possible places a person can go a lot of the time when I was a kid. Okay? I had normal psychological responses to the breakup of my family, but I took it to the next level. I didn't have to do that. Okay? I didn't have to do that. I love my teenage me. Shout out to me, but I knew what I was doing. Okay? When it comes to the real seizure, though, the fact that it's not there, that's a big problem. So I'm gonna have to look at the polio vaccines. I'm gonna have to look at the side effects of the vaccines, and then get back to you guys with what I find out. My entire life was a case study, guys. This fucking proves it. My entire fucking life was a case study and was a systemic cover-up. Not only a systemic cover-up of everything that happened to me. This is a controlled demolition of my life in order to cover some very serious fucking shit up. Because why else would I be going through this? Why else would this be happening to me? And it involves some heavy hitters as well. Of course it involves some heavy hitters. They've got secret societies on my shit. I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. Something was wrong. My whole family might have been targeted because of this shit, because of the cover-up that they were trying to engineer. But let me look up the side effects. I gotta go, man. I gotta go. Looks like my partner wasn't the only one who was fucking abused by medication. I was too. Fuck.